Let's welcome our host for It Is What It Is, Annette Ferguson.
Reach out to me via their mobile cell phone. You can call and share what is on their minds. So that being said, I'll exit and return in 120 seconds.
Let's welcome our host for It Is What It Is, Annette Ferguson. Let's welcome our host for It Is What It Is, Annette Ferguson.
Thank you for joining us back here on It Is What It Is with yours truly, Annette Ferguson. Once again, a pleasant Thursday evening. It is March 17th, 2022. And just before I get into my program proper, allow me the opportunity to extend birth anniversary greetings to those of you who might have been celebrating a birthday, whether today, whether earlier in the week or over the weekend. Happy birth anniversary to you. I pronounce God's richest blessings for good health and continued success. Also, for those of you celebrating another wedding anniversary, happy wedding anniversary. And, I want to take this opportunity to extend and pronounce God's continuous blessings on your marriage. Who God bless, let no man put asunder. And, also I want to extend on behalf of the team here at It Is What It Is to those persons who might have lost a loved one, whether to COVID or otherwise. And personally, I want to extend my deepest condolences to the husband, children, family, and other relatives and friends of the late Elmer the Matters Dijam out at 428 West Rockville, Greater Georgetown. She was laid to rest earlier today. So my deepest condolences to the husband and other sorrowing relatives. May you find solace at this time of your bereavement. Early in the week, we also laid to rest the late Canon Evan Semple, who was laid to rest on Monday at Hotel. So to his sorrowing wife and other relatives, our deepest condolences. May their sweet soul continue to sleep in perfect peace, and may they rise in eternal glory. Moving on with the program, I also want to take this opportunity to extend Happy Holi, or many of us know it as Pagwa, to our Hindu brothers and sisters who will be celebrating Happy Holi tomorrow, March 18, 2022. May I, on my own personal behalf, take this opportunity to remind those of you who will be, in the streets, whether here in Georgetown, across the country, whatever you do, please ensure that you exercise care and caution. Please ensure that you also be considerate to, with the persons amongst you. So whatever you do tomorrow, please ensure that you celebrate with care and caution. And we know power is basically good over evil, right? I think, if my memory serves me correct. So once again, happy Holi to all my Hindu brothers and sisters here in Guyana. COVID updates. COVID is still with us. Last week, when I aired the program, we had 63,090 deaths. That was last Thursday. This Thursday, 63,169. That's the total number of confirmed cases here in Guyana. 63,169. For the deaths, last week, I reported on my program last week, it was 1,224. I repeat, 1,224. Well, as of today, it is 1,226. So though we've seen some amount of decrease in the number of deaths, right? People, still continue to be infected with the disease, with the virus, sorry. And we also recognize that persons are still dying. That being said, I would want to urge you, and for those of you celebrating Padua tomorrow, right? You still have to ensure that you maintain your distance. I don't know how that would be possible tomorrow if you have large number of persons congregating in one particular location or space. And you also have to wear your mask continuously, sanitize, and watch your distance. And it would be, let me also say to you that though the regime has announced that they will be lifting the entire ban on COVID as of next week, we still want to encourage you. We in the opposition here, we still want to encourage you to exercise caution. Wear your mask. Wear your mask. If you read, I think it is the director from PAHO, WHO. She had a whole lot to say on countries that have already started to probably open like 100%. She has warned that countries need to be very, very careful. And while while you want to open up your country, perhaps take the economy back to normalcy, we have to be very, very cautious. We have to be very, very careful. And she, echoed the point that persons must protect themselves because the virus is very much alive and Guyana will not escape. So despite what the new measures are, despite what the regime would have announced late last week, we as responsible Guyanese must ensure that we exercise care and caution. We have seen the mismanagement of this entire pandemic by the PPPC regime since August 2nd, 2020. And still, we're in 2022, they haven't got it right. We have had the issues with the procurement of the Sputnik V vaccines. We had the issue with the mandatory vaccination here on Guyanese. But despite the warnings, despite the pleas from civil society, from responsible Guyanese, the regime did not budge. And as we have been saying, as a responsible opposition, please, your life is important. Your life is important. And if you have a regime that has no plan, that has been mismanaging, that has been, exhibiting some degree of ineptitude and, incompetence, we have to take things into our own hands and protect the lives of ourselves and that of our family and loved ones. So moving on with the program, I also want to announce and to remind you, yes, this I will continue to, remind you of what is happening. And I now move to GCOM, continuous registration updates. Continuous registration updates. The cycle for continuous registration opened last Monday, I think March 7th, 2022, and it will be run until May 29th, 2022. And it is for those persons who are 14 and older, or who are likely to be 14 by October 2022, to get registered in this phase. We have been lamenting that for those persons who were first-time registrants and was registered during the house-to-house registration in 2019, GCOM has announced some weeks ago that they have, discarded those registration, and for those persons who were registered then, they now have to get registered in this new cycle. So again, if you've misplaced your ID card, you can do so now, to get a replacement. If you're living at a new location and with a new district, a new region, and you want to do a change of address, you can also do so in this phase. For those persons who are married and they now want to change their names, whether from Ferguson to Collins or from Collins to Ferguson, whichever one, you can do so in this period also. If you got an ID card that has a not so looking good photo of you, you can also go to the GCOM offices in your district and have a new photo taken so that it can really reflect who you really is, right? Good. So continuous registration continues, and it goes from March 7th, 2022 to May 29th, 2022. I will announce again, Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. 8 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. in the afternoon. So for those who are working and you want to visit the office, you can do so probably during your lunch period, or you can do so after 4:30 in the afternoon. Weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So in Georgetown, you have offices on Close Street. Close Street, you have on Sheriff and William Streets. You have at Mandela, just opposite the KFC office there, and you also have on Close Street, upstairs of the Metro office. And did I call Church Street? Yes, I think I did, but for emphasis sake, Church Street opposite the Austin's Book Center. So please make every effort to get registered during this cycle. And I guess you might have read a statement put out by the People's National Congress Reform. I think the APNU and AFC combined, they too will have announced, I think they met with GCOM early this week, to express to GCOM that we, in the opposition, we are advocating for the electoral, the reform. And that was, if you have a copy or in your spare time, you can visit the EU Mission's website. I think they have the report from the March 2020 elections. And in that report, the observers made it absolutely clear that the current electoral laws really, really needs changing. So the EU said that even during the recount, the national recount, the CARICOM observers Two, they say the report revealed that the electoral laws governing the current electoral laws are a bit outdated and there is need for improvement. So, let us watch how things are going. You've heard the PNC's position on the continuous registration. We believe that house to house registration will solve many of the issues and the problems we detected in the March 2nd, 2020 elections. But my brothers and sisters, on today's program, we will be discussing, the topic for today's program is the PPPC cost of living not good for Guyana. The PPPC cost of living is not good for Guyana. And I know that many of you will agree with me that things not regular in this nation. And sometimes it is good for us to go back to history because you must be able to know where you were and to make that comparison to see where you at. And we will recall, and for those of you who cannot recall, I will remind you here this evening that the minimum wage under the PPPC in 2006 was $26,070. 2006, $26,070. Just before the May 2015 elections, the minimum wage, again, under the People's Progressive Party Civic, $39,570. $39,570. Now let's make the comparison. The APNU, I know in 2015 we gave increases in salaries. In 2016, we did likewise. So in 2017, our minimum wage was $60,000. 2017, $60,000. So you see how far? Less than 2 years, or within 2 years, we were able to move the minimum wage from $39,570 to 60,000 Guyana dollars. The facts are there. In 2018, we move it from 60,000 to 64,200. 60,000 to 64,200. That's in 2018. In 2019, that was our last budget before we were pushed out of government. In 2019, it moved from 64,200 to $70,000. And I recall, during the years of the coalition government, many public servants, they were just waiting with open arms every December, looking forward to hear what the APNU, through the then Minister of Finance, the Honorable Winston Jordan, has to offer the public servants. Yeah. So, from 64,200 to 70,000 in 2019. Where are we today? In 2020, zero. Nothing for public servants. Nothing. They got absolutely nothing. In 2021, a measly 7%, probably 7% divided by 2 years and gave you 3 point, divided by 2, sorry, and gave you 3.5. So perhaps for 2020, they make up for 2020 with a 3.5%. And in 2021, another 3.5%. So the minimum wage hasn't really moved significantly from 70,000 to now $74,000, less than 5,000. Less than 5,000 was given to public servants in 2021 in an oil economy. But while the public servants only received less than 5,000 increase in salaries, you had the bigger boys, the VP, Mr. Torturn, the installed Ali, and all the ministers. They too benefited from the 7%. They too benefited from the 7%. Huge increases. But I must remind you guys, because you know, they like to say that when we went into government, we give ourselves 50%. Well, as I've been reporting, I didn't get a 50% increase as a minister of the government. I did not. As a junior minister or minister with him, I did not receive 50%. And this was made clear. But because of who the PPP is about propaganda, spewing of lies, people tend to believe them. But as politicians, when the truth is on your side, we must speak the truth. So in 2015, when the coalition ministers, the salaries were adjusted, we never benefited thereafter. We never got an increase in 2016, we never got in 2017, we never got in 2018, we never got in 2019. We never. So whether you receive a 20% as a minister within, and perhaps my other colleagues receive a little more than the ministers within, we never benefited from increases after 2015. But what you see is that this very things talk about, they were dumped in. The very VP, who's now parading as Mr. Torturn, he said, if the PPP to get back into office, they will reverse the coalition's increase in salaries. Was never done. In 2021, they benefited from the 7%. So where are we today? We know better than where we were between 2015 to 2020. The ordinary guys out there are suffering every day. The cry. Every day you're hearing. Just before coming into studio, I purchased a bag of bread. 2 weeks ago, this fresh bread cost me $340. Today when I pull up at the vendor, she said, oh, I just want to let you know that bread and grease, it's now $360. Now tell me, what is happening to the ordinary man in a Brinkalow, east from Veld, west from Veld? We're barely making it on a daily basis because many people survive on a daily bread and go out and work on a 5,000. By the time just before they get home, the 5,000 finish. So $360. A tennis roll, fresh tennis roll. 2 weeks ago, it costed me $280. It's now $300 for a bag of tennis roll. $300 Ghana. You heard about the increases in gas. Rubis moved from 4,200 to 5,700. Oil, cooking oil, less than 2,000 Ghana, now stands at 4,000 Ghana. What is happening here in our nation? And we're not hearing anything much from the government. But you know what? In the 2018 budget, in the 2022 budget, under the Office of the Prime Minister, if my memory serves me accurate, there's an allocation for $5 billion Ghana. During the consideration of the estimates, and we in the opposition asked the hardcore questions, what is $5 billion going to do? We all intend to do with this $5 billion. How you are treating with the high cost of living in this nation? They weren't forthcoming. But yesterday, or early in the week, we heard Mr. Install coming out to say rising cost of living, government to buttress budgeted $5 billion in relief measures. But we want to see the plan. How this $5 billion going to be rolled out, because Guyanese, you're going to remember, in 2020, $7 billion. $7 billion was appropriated for COVID relief. 25,000 first, they said, for each household. Then they shifted the goalpost. They cannot be trusted. They shifted the goalpost. They said, oh, not every household, but those who could show that they got titles, they have transport, and they have leased. They started to put certain stringent measures that the ordinary man who's living right on a dam in South Georgetown, those who live in the riverside at Riverview, will not be able to benefit. And we have the reports of the many, many complaints of those persons who are yet to receive that $5,000. Last year, 2021, $10 billion to go to rice farmers, cash crop farmers, poultry rearers. After the flood, over several months in 2021, to date, many farmers, many small cash crop farmers haven't benefited. People are crying every single day. Just early this week, you heard from rice farmers. Where are we going? Guyana is in serious trouble. But you know what? I want to, because at 1945, or probably 1940 hours, I would want to open up the lines to hear from you. But the reality is there. Fuel. There's an increase in fuel. And obviously, once there's an increase in fuel, it will have an effect on every other commodity. But what is startling is that things that are procured right here, rice, a bag of rice now from 1,700 or 50, between 1,500 and 1,700, you know, the small carbide bag of rice. now stands close to $2,000. And people ain't seen no vast or major increase in their wages and salaries, but the boys who daddy top, they live in large. They live in large off the taxpayers. And when we as your representatives in the National Assembly advocate, agitate, and call upon the regime to do more, they're budging. Transportation cost has also increased because the drivers them crying out, gas price raise. But you know what? Let the gas price reduce by next 2 weeks. The cost in fares will not reduce. And who is feeling it? It is the ordinary man and woman, that single mother who struggle on a daily basis to send 2, 3, if possible, 5 children to school. It's not easy. It's not easy. And I can feel the pain. But because of them wanting a good education for the children, many of them are making the sacrifices. Whether they work during the course of the day, if it's domestic, at nights, they're guarding somebody's property just to make ends meet in this nation. And rather than a responsible government calling all stakeholders, they should have engaged stakeholders by now. They should have engaged stakeholders. This should have been a priority for them. People balling every day. And it seems as though they don't have the solution. They don't have the know-how. And since early up in the year, since last year, we have been speaking about the high cost of living. And I had the opportunity to prepare a motion which was tabled in the National Assembly, seconded by my colleague, the Honorable Coretta MacDonald, to debate the high cost of living in this nation. And I think it is the penultimate resolve clause asking for this administration, this regime, to set aside $200,000 quarterly for every Guyanese 80 and over to benefit. So I guess whenever the National Assembly reconvenes, we will hear the debate. And I will soon put the motion out on my Facebook page, so you can see exactly what is it we in the opposition calling on the government to do. So I will play a video. But before I invite the operator to bring that video in, I want to remind each and every one of us, Prophecy for Guyana, we will remember just before the 2020 elections, we had a prophecy. A prophecy was made by a prophet in Nigeria. What is going to happen in Guyana? And today, we're seeing it. We're seeing it. So I now invite the operator to play that video. And when I come back in, we will open up the lines so that we can hear from you. So operator, over to you.
The Lord opened my eyes and took me to the country of Republic of Guyana. I am your own, Jesus. I am your own. In the year 2022, Jesus. The Lord said I should tell the Guyanese to pray against economic hardship. Even the government will be confused on what to do. And I see people praying, crying, depressed because things became so much hard. I pray for that country. Anything that will bring famine in that place, may God deliver them in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. The Lord said, I saw a natural disaster. The Lord said that the country of Guyana should pray. Republic of Cooperative of Guyana is South America. The Lord said they should pray against natural disaster. I saw this disaster looming, and properties will be lost, lives will be lost. But I pray in the name of Jesus that God's own will never experience any disaster that will arise in the Republic of Guyana, in the mighty name of Jesus Christ.
Thank you very much, operator. So, viewers, welcome back. There you have it. The prophecy. You know, as Christians, we would normally say, you know, we're saying the coming to light or the fulfillment of such prophecy. And I will repeat again, Guyana is in serious trouble. Guyana is in serious trouble. The cost of living is killing our people. So I will now invite those of you who would like to place a call and let us, have a discussion on the topic. The PPPC cost of living, not good for Guyana. So the number to call is 684. It's running just below the screen there. 681, sorry, 778. 681-778. And you can call either, straight, or you can use your WhatsApp to place that call. So we're waiting to hear from you, but while we wait to hear from you, I will continue with the discussion. So the number to call is, for those of you who haven't got it as yet, it is 681-778. 681-778. So, guys, besides the high cost of living, what else is happening here in our nation? Just early this week, we recognized a young woman took her life, perhaps based on what has been reported in the media, is that, because of some domestic violence. But despite that, despite domestic violence in our nation, I believe that the government can do more. The government can do more. Perhaps there is need for additional social groups to be formed so that women, whether women, young people, whomever they are, they have issues and they really want to get help, they must be able to visit those support groups to give them the necessary assistance. I also believe that the government also needs to do more collaboration, probably whether in the workplaces or with the churches, these social groups that we have, whether at the community level, whatever. I believe that the government should partner with these bodies so that they too can assist in addressing some of the social ills that our people faced in this country. You know, with the high cost of living, I can imagine what is going through the minds of many Guyanese. The high cost of living, many of them perhaps are not working, and it can lead off to situations as we experienced as a nation last Monday or Tuesday of this week. So people are hurting heavily out there. And I would like to see the government and other, the private sector too, can play a role in helping with these social ills in our nation. We've also, I've also read sometime in the week concerning the whole issue of the local content bill, a bill that was passed last year, I think just before we went into recess in August. Because of the oil and gas economy, the government swiftly moved to introduce this local content bill. And I must let you know that perhaps Guyana is the only country in the Caribbean, or that is a part of the Caribbean, that has such an act. Because Trinidad, who has been producing oil for some years now, they don't have a local content act, but rather they have a local content policy, right? That is used to guide how they treat with different services and the whole gamut of what is happening in the oil and gas industry. Suriname, another oil producing nation close to us to the east. They too, they don't have, they're a part of CARICOM, but they don't have a, a, a local content act, but rather they have local content policies. And I read that despite getting a call is coming through, viewers, a call is coming through, let me just take this call. A pleasant evening to you. Welcome to It Is What It Is. Hello? A pleasant evening to you. Welcome to. Yes, you are, sir, and you're free to share what is on your mind.
Very good show at the first. You mentioned earlier something that caught my interest. You said that the government had allocated with $5 billion in the budget.
Yes.
For relief measures, but could not say exactly what they had in mind to do with the money. Did I catch that correctly?
Yes, sir, you have.
It's been food for our MPs to will find a fit for the government with this money. Because we know the government has a way of using such funds to send to various interest groups and supporters. We're not against the supporters within supporter relief. What's So I'm glad you raised that point. And I hope all the banks appreciate concerns I'm raising.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very much.
You're most welcome, and thank you very much for your contribution to the program here this evening. And I will respond to some of the very points you've raised. So once again, thank you very much. God bless you. Bye bye.
Continue the work.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you very much, caller, for your contribution. But you're absolutely correct. It is the responsibility of the opposition to hold the government feet to the fire. It is also the responsibility of the opposition to expose many of the wrongdoings that are being meted out by the government. And during the budget debates in 2022, and I'm sorry that I didn't walk with a copy of the extract of the answer, because that is where you would find all the debates, all the records, based on questions asked, based on motions debated, everything. Those are compiled in an answer, and it is kept there for future references. And I can say this to you. We grilled the Prime Minister, the installed Mark Phillips. Let us know what this $5 billion will do. Don't just have it as a lump sum in the budget, and you cannot provide us with appropriate responses, because at the end of the day, this is not PPP money. This is taxpayers' money. And as representatives of constituents and constituencies, programs like these, In the Ring, Advancing the Cause, the People's Representative, Building Bridges, The Rush, we must be able to say to our people, hey, Budget 2022 got $5 billion that will go towards relief measures to cushion the huge or the rise in cost of living. And this is what is expected. Region 1, based on whether the voters list or the census report of 2012, because the other census report this year, 2022, we're 10 years after 2012. So we're expected to move into census this year. In Region 1, you got 4,000 households. And each household is likely to benefit from X dollars. And you come right down to Region 10. That ain't happening no way. Because I would remind you also that in 2021, $10 billion was approved as supplementary in June last year, just before we went into recess. Again, under the Prime Minister's office for CDC. And when we ask, please disaggregate, let me know how many farmers are likely to benefit, which areas, how many poultry rearers are to benefit. That information was not forthcoming. And if I'm to go and quote what the installed president stated here some hours ago, or just yesterday, and the headline reads, rising cost of living, government to buttress, budgeted $5 billion in relief measures. And I want to quote here, and this is what he had to say. We've been continuously reducing the tax on fuel, bracket importation. So that has been continuously done, even without anyone calling. But at some point, there will be an assessment. Here the word, the light use the word. Assessment because the country still has to get revenue. Right? Yeah, I agree. Then he further went on to state that so at some point there will be an assessment as to what additional measures we can look at, unquote. Now, the word from what I've just read that caught my attention is assessment. And as I said before, this is what they like to use, assessment. Because when we ask the question, how this money, this 10 billion will be disbursed, they say assessment got to be done. So how come you were able to cater for $10 billion when a pre-assessment wasn't done? So as the caller rightfully said, it looked and it sounds as though some of these huge sums are basically used for slush funds. That's why they can go into their stronghold areas and give out 100,000 to Tom, 200,000 to Dick, without any kind of accountability. And that is not being fair. That is not being fair at all. You keep lamenting and parroting that one Guyana, this one Guyana concept. But it is just cheap words, but no actions behind it. Because one, from the resources, whether financial or otherwise, not all Guyanese benefiting. Just the other day, I got a report that you know what the PPP doing? They're giving ducks, these ducklings, the blackbirds, with feeds. So their supporters are getting a complete package to rear the ducklings, rear these meat birds, and rear these blackbirds in their stronghold areas. But yet, the perceived coalition support areas kicking brick. But the very monies that are used to procure these blackbirds, these meat birds, these ducklings, the feed, taxpayers' money. So the caller pointed out, there's no fair system in the distribution of the resources. I dare the PPP, I dare any one of them to say to us what they have done for the people in Agricola. To say to us what are the projects they have in Sophia. To say to us what are the projects they have for the people. Don't worry with the brick, we call it the block making. Don't worry, that will put in our what place again? In Tiger. But Guyanese, if we do not open our eyes, if we do not open your eyes, the PPP will continue to treat us in this way. And as right-thinking Guyanese, it is our responsibility to say to this government, we are Guyanese. You know, and they just concluded our conference. It took Mayor Motley to say to us, or to say to those who were here, the citizens of this country should not be treated as tenants. When my brothers and sisters, I know time has caught up with me, I want to say to you that we here in India, we're being treated as tenants by a regime that cares absolutely nothing about the ordinary man in this nation. It is what it is. So I want to say to you, thank you very much for joining me this evening. And I do look forward to you joining me next week for another edition of the program. It is what it is. Once again, to my Hindu brothers and sisters, happy Holi to you. And for those of you who are not Hindu, but will be engaging in the celebration tomorrow, I ask that you exercise care, caution, and be responsible, because COVID is very much alive with us. May God bless us all. May God bless our beautiful nation, Guyana. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for watching our program. See you right back here, same place, same time. And remember, hold the line of battle, comrades. Our victory is sure.